Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Cinema Council. It might also be the last episode, but we're gonna do our best.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm here with my friend Andrew.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Internet. We're here to discuss movies for about an hour or so, and just talk about the latest in entertainment. We've got a lot in store for you today. We're going to talk about some movies we watched over the past couple weeks. Obviously, Black Panther opened to a really large debut a couple weeks ago. There are a lot of Super Bowl trailers that everybody's talking about. There's a lot of news in general that everybody's talking about. Release dates are shifting. Movies are getting new ratings. Directors are getting hired and fired. We're going to cover that. And our big topic, our main event for the week, is our own version of the Oscars with just blockbuster movies. We're going to talk about the greatest movies that people actually saw. But first, we will talk about the movies we watched this week. Now, before we get to Black Panther, I understand you saw a few movies in the past couple weeks.
I did. I saw about 4.
4, alright. Okay, you saw Happy Death Day a couple weeks ago. How was that?
I did. I realize I'm behind on seeing it. I enjoyed it. There were a few things I wish they included. For the main character's mom, I wish they had built a larger story around her. She seemed important, and her death had, radical effects, so wish there was a bit more of that. But I understand they're making a sequel for that movie, so hopefully we shall see a bit more of the mom story in the next movie.
Sounds good. So did you like the movie? Anything that you particularly enjoyed or didn't enjoy? What grade would you give it?
Probably I'd give it a B. There were some elements it was a fun movie, kind of Groundhog's Day plus horror movie, but there wasn't a huge story. So I felt involved in it, but there were too many stakes because she kept reliving the same day over and over. So every time she died, you knew it was not going to be the end of her life.
Right.
I did enjoy the plot twist at the end. So just spoiler warning for the rest of the podcast. Her roommate is the murderer, and I did not see that twist coming.
Interesting. Yeah. Actually, with you saying that, I'm just gonna flat out say, spoiler alert for a bunch of movies that we're gonna talk about, especially Black Panther. Spoilers for that up ahead. Some disclaimers before we go further. In terms of copyright issues, we're not trying to infringe on anybody's rights. If somebody from Disney or somebody from YouTube is listening to this, we're not trying to make money off of you illegally or something. Also, we're recording this on Saturday. This is going to be uploaded on Tuesday to YouTube. If anything big in terms of news or movies comes out between now and Tuesday, we're sorry, but we really can't cover that. We can't see into the future. Also, this might not be the same council every week. It might not just be me and Andrew every week. It might be different. We're probably going to have some friends in future episodes that might have something to say. Yeah, there will also be times down in the description to avoid spoilers if you want to do that, or if you want to skip around, look at the stuff that you like in particular. I would just like to say before we keep going, my major inspiration for this was the Poorly Planned podcast. The guys that do that are extremely funny. They live up to their name, but in a good way, and they're just great. So go check them out, and then come back and listen to the rest of this.
I would also like to cite one of my inspirations, which is a YouTube channel called Screen Junkies News and Screen Junkies, and that's where I really got interested in just learning about movie rankings and stuff. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen those channels or looked at their videos before, definitely go check them out. They're both all of those channels are really good at what they do, and you should definitely go check them out. So You also saw the new Maze Runner movie that came out not too long ago.
Yes, it was a fitting end to the Maze Runner trilogy, although if you're a huge fan of the book series, the movies definitely differ from it. So
Right. Yeah.
that definitely continues in the third movie. There is no telepathy if you're a fan of the book series. There's a lot of telepathy, not in the movies though.
Yeah. From what I've heard, the first one's okay. The second one's even more okay. It's just like they're from what I've heard, not all of them are just like meh. They're about C movies. They're not great, but they're watchable. You can enjoy them while watching them. What grade would you give Maze Runner?
I'd give it an A since I felt it was, a nice conclusion to the whole trilogy. And ranking it just like in the series, I would actually say it's number one.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I've read the books. I haven't seen any of the movies. I would definitely look into that as soon as possible because I've heard that that they are enjoy. There is enjoyment to be had in them, despite being not the best movies, obviously. And recently you saw the last Pirates movie, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Is that right?
Yes. They are cheesy movies, but I enjoy the jokes and stuff. So, wasn't like, the best movie ever, but it was, just a nice next installment if you enjoy what the series has to offer. It hasn't gotten too many good reviews, but I still thought, just like fun times. Check out a Pirates movie.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen any of the other Pirates movies?
Yes, I've seen the first three, not the fourth one though, and primarily the reason I haven't seen the fourth one is because it took out some of the main cast, and I enjoyed their characters, so, fifth one brought them back. That's the reason I came, just like a reunion of the characters, so that it got me excited.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So, out of the four Pirates movies that you've watched, where would you rank this one? What grade would you give it?
I'd probably give it about a B minus, and ranking in the series probably third place.
Yeah, yeah. From what I've heard, Dead Men Tell No Tales is not the best Pirates movie. In fact, a lot of people are calling it the worst Pirates movie. Um, but from what you say, it doesn't seem so bad as everybody says.
Yeah.
But okay. And I also saw a few movies in the past couple weeks in honor of the new Mission Impossible Fallout trailer that debuted during the Super Bowl. I went back and rewatched both Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, the last two Mission Impossible movies, in my opinion, the best two Mission Impossible movies. Um, both are really good. They've got great action. I'll tell you one thing: Tom Cruise really commits to those roles. He does a lot of running. He does a lot of stunts. It's crazy, but he's just so committed to that, and as is the rest of the cast. And they all do a really good job. Great action, great characters. The villains could be a little better, but overall, it was a really thrilling experience to just be able to go back and watch those.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you people know this, but during filming for this new Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise actually broke his ankle doing one of the
Yeah,
stunts.
I heard
so
about that.
even if you don't like the movie, at least respect Tom Cruise for getting into character.
Yeah, he like I said many times, he really commits to those roles. Like he will put his body on the line time and time again. I mean, I honestly cannot believe the type of stuff that he does in those movies. I'm definitely looking forward to Mission Impossible Fallout. I'm gonna see it opening weekend. Definitely. The trailer looks great. I thought it was the best Super Bowl trailer that they showed at around that time. Yeah, really looking forward to it. One of my most anticipated of the year, actually. And I also saw Creed after I saw Black Panther. I was like, Ryan Coogler is probably one of the most innovative directors I've ever seen so far. So I've already seen Creed once, but I went back and saw Creed a second time. It's still great. Stallone does a great job. Michael B. Jordan is fantastic as Apollo Creed's son Adonis, who gets back into boxing, starts training with Rocky, and tries to make a name of himself. And it's a really powerful story with great characters, with some great fighting sequences. Honestly, the kind of stuff that they do with the boxing. There's this one boxing take. There's this one scene where the whole scene is one take, and it's nuts, and it goes for like 3 minutes. It's crazy. And it's amazing. I was like, this filmmaking can almost not be topped. It's very respectable.
Ryan Coogler is definitely an up and coming director, so watch any of his films.
He's made 3 so far, I believe. He made Fruitvale Station in 2013. He was 27 years old when he made that. He made Creed in 2015 when he was 29, and now he's made a big blockbuster studio movie, and he's 31. I mean, this guy is so talented. I can't wait to see what he does next. Unfortunately, he's not coming back for Creed 2, which comes out in November, but I'm definitely looking forward to see what he does in the future.
Yeah, definitely with 3 movies, and the MCU wanted him for Black Panther. You know there's something good about him.
Right. He brings such a creative style to his movies, where in all of those movies that I just mentioned, Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther, you can really feel yourself in the setting. You know what I mean? It's like you can really feel yourself in Philadelphia or in Wakanda. Like you feel immersed by the kind of setting that he puts you in, and I think that's really awe-inspiring with that type of movie, especially for a director that young. And finally, I rewatched Spider-Man: Homecoming for about the 3rd time. It's still so funny, so great. The action is great. Michael Keaton as the Vulture is probably one of my favorite MCU villains. Definitely top 5, easy. All the actors give a great performance. Robert Downey Jr. doesn't steal the movie too much. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man I've ever seen, personally. I think he's great. I think it could be even better in Infinity War, Spider-Man: Homecoming 2. And definitely, I really had a blast with it. I love the passion that went into that movie. And I can't wait to see what Spider-Man does in the future.
I will definitely agree that I think Tom Holland is the best actor to play Spider-Man so far. When I first heard they were rebooting Spider-Man for the 3rd time, I was kind of mad because I enjoyed Andrew Garfield's version of the character and wished, with the MCU deal he had continued on in. But I will say Tom Holland definitely is a great replacement. He brings, the sense of like childhood to the role, and Peter Parker, he's, still a teenager, so, you can't treat him too seriously. He's gonna crack some jokes, and, he's just gonna be there to have fun while tagging along with superheroes, and that's what Spider-Man: Homecoming is, just this kid who's struggling with homework, fighting bad guys who want to, just be bad.
Yeah. The Spider-Man series has definitely been up and down for everybody, me especially. I grew up with the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. I watched Spider-Man 1 and 2. I thought they were awesome. I thought Tobey Maguire brought a lot of charisma to the role of Peter Parker. And Spider-Man 3 obviously was a dud, but and they canceled that, rebooted it with Amazing Spider-Man. I personally hated Andrew Garfield's character. That's one point where you and I we don't agree, but I thought he tried his best. He just wasn't the right fit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, some definitely say he was like too cool to be playing Peter Parker, and he definitely did seem like a cool version of Peter Parker. But I kind of felt like as Spider-Man he was great, and he stuttered a lot, but
that's true.
He still provided the sense of emotion to the role, and Tobey Maguire, he was almost too good at emotions. He would go over the top with it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But the main point I wanted to make with both of those guys is in all 5 of those movies, the good ones and the bad ones, there was always something that seemed out of place with casting Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, because they just seemed way too old to be playing high schoolers. If I remember correctly, I think for Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire was something like 36 years old, and he was still his character was still in high school. And when they were rebooting it, I heard they were going to cast an actual teenager. I was a little bit nervous originally, but they cast Tom Holland, and I saw him in Civil War, and I thought he did amazing in Civil War. He did such a great job. He really felt like what Peter Parker would be like on the big screen, and he was even better in Spider-Man Homecoming, and he looks really good in Infinity War. They're going to bring him back for 1 or 2 more Spider-Man movies in the future, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Alright, so those are the movies that we saw in the past couple weeks. Just a quick recap. Andrew gave Happy Death Day a B, Maze Runner: The Death Cure an A, and Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales also about a B-, right?
Yeah.
And personally for me, I would give both Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation a solid B+. They're very entertaining with pretty weak villains. Creed, I would give an A- too. I thought it was very well acted with a great story. Spider-Man Homecoming, I'd probably also give it a B+. It was not the best MCU movie by any means, but it was it definitely stood out from the worst of the worst, if you know what I mean. So now we're going to transition over into the latest news from Hollywood and the bombshell announcement from just a couple days ago. Avengers Infinity War used to be slated at May 4th, 2018 for a long time, maybe almost 2 years actually. And just a couple days ago, Marvel announced that they're going to be moving it up a week to April 27th, which just so happens to be my birthday, like my exact birthday. So I'm loving that idea. What are your opinions on that deal?
I am definitely very excited that they're moving it up. I think part of the reason could have been, there might have been competition with Deadpool 2 coming out and Solo, a Star Wars story, and all 3 of them are huge blockbusters. They're gonna take over the box office for every month they're in, basically. Avengers Infinity War being bumped up, that's the movie I'm most excited for out of the 3. MCU has been building to this movie for, 8 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. It's going to be a climactic battle. And if this movie is bad, I am just going to be very mad.
Yeah, so will I. I mean, Marvel's been building to this for almost 10 years now. They've built an entire universe which is completely unprecedented in Hollywood. And I think this move means a lot of different things for Disney and Hollywood in general. I think it means that Disney thinks it's on to something. Like they're very confident in what they have, that they can move it up a week before summer and they can still have a great blockbuster. And like you said, Deadpool 2 and Solo, with Deadpool 2 moving up before Solo in May 18th. It used to be on June 1st when it was going to be released. Infinity War only had 2 weeks to itself before Deadpool 2 came out, so Infinity War had to move back, take more of that box office back for itself. Another thing it means is the way Marvel's been releasing their movies is they've been releasing them internationally 1 week, and then the next week they'd be released in America. So in this case, Infinity War is going to be released everywhere at the same time, so no spoilers for anyone really. Who's going to see it opening weekend. They're all going to see it at about the same time.
Yeah, and with Deadpool 2's moving up, that wasn't really, that was partially to compete with the new Disney movies coming out, but it was also because of, X-Men rescheduling their movies with Fox and everything. Right. You got that Gambit movie, which has gone through so many troubles in production, and then you got X-Men New Mutants, which I am actually pretty excited for. I'd like to see X-Men horror movie, how that's going to go.
Right.
Which has been bumped up another year.
Right.
So that was kind of disappointing to me, but it meant Deadpool 2 is coming earlier, so I'm just very excited for the month of May and April.
Right. The summer movie season is starting earlier than usual. I mean, since 1999, every year, one of the biggest movies of the year is always released on the first weekend of May, and Marvel is changing that in a big way. And I think what it used to be back in the 70s and 80s is the kickstart to the summer movie season would always be on Memorial Day. It would be like Independence Day came out on July 4th, obviously, but it used to be they were gonna release it on Memorial Day because that's just how big it was, and now Marvel's changing that, and I think after they moved it up to the opening weekend in May, Marvel helped do that with the first Iron Man movie, and now they're moving the start of the summer movie season back a week to April, the end of April, which is my birthday, like I said, which I'm super pumped for. I would love to see more movies be in that range. I wouldn't be surprised if Avengers 4 also moves back to the last weekend of April, just to see some continuity. And I'm super excited for this movie. It's my most anticipated movie of the year, and I'm guessing yours as well, right?
Yes. In terms of original movies coming out, I wouldn't rank it as the highest. This is more of like my inner fanboy coming out.
Definitely.
The real test for Infinity War will be, does it work as just a standalone movie? Can you really enjoy the film if you ignore the context that is the culmination of an entire universe? Because you can have a really great finale for a saga, and it also kind of be, only a semi-good movie. So I want them to just, I'm happy to see all these characters come in, but I want them to make a great film. And, I don't want them to get, just bombarded covering where everyone is and, setting up the new phase. I kind of want this to be an epic finale. I want there to be stakes. I know people don't want, a character to die, but I am actually kind of hoping Captain America will die, just so that this movie actually accomplishes something great. It'll be bold new territory if they give the Captain America mantle to Bucky or Falcon. And definitely towards the end of Black Panther, in a post-credit scene, you got Bucky wearing red and white, and there are definitely Easter eggs spread throughout all the Marvel movies hinting that Bucky is going to take over the role. I'd like to see them follow through with that and make it a real thing.
Yeah. Switching gears, speaking of Black Panther, from one Marvel movie to another, Black Panther opened a couple weeks ago to the 5th largest opening in the U.S. of all time, and I don't think anyone was expecting that from Black Panther. It is the second highest opening for any Marvel movie behind the first Avengers movie, and it's done amazingly well at the box office and critically. It has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score of any Marvel movie, highest Metacritic, I believe, of any Marvel movie. It's been doing phenomenal ever since it opened. And what do you think? What do you think helped lead to that success?
Well, Black Panther, there are many things why Black Panther is this big a deal. For one, you got this all-star African-American cast. Then this is also kind of, as Marvel enters its next phase, you've got this new tonal shift that's been slated to occur. And Black Panther is kind of the beginning of this new vision of the Marvel Universe. And it's a great standalone story while also building its own universe. We've heard mentions of Wakanda and Vibranium. Now we have this grand scale movie showing us it all and adding depth to the story. So that's great, and that's definitely a reason why it's this big in the box office. It's also a blockbuster movie, so you're obviously going to have huge people attending. So it's it's a great movie, worthy of a second watch and a third watch even.
Definitely. Um, yeah, Black Panther's amazing. We both saw it, right? Um, we both think it's great. We think it's a great movie. And we mentioned that there were Super Bowl trailers. After when I talked about Mission Impossible, there were Super Bowl trailers. I mentioned Mission Impossible was the best one, but there were others as well that seemed pretty good. Skyscraper was one of them. Infinity War was one of them. But shortly after that, the Olympics helped promote a new trailer for Incredibles 2, which might, if Infinity War wasn't coming out this year, that probably would be my most anticipated movie of the year. I mean, personally, The Incredibles is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's an amazing movie, and I'm so glad that they're getting a sequel after 14 years now since the first one, and this new Olympic trailer showed us a lot of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It was the first real look at any new content. They had that teaser trailer starring Jack, but
Yep.
that hardly revealed any new information. We
Yeah.
already knew Jack had powers. So this one gave you the first look at the plot, and even before the trailer dropped, you had the new character releases. You got like Void, Winston Dever, Evelyn Dever, all these people, characters coming in. So that's very exciting. And in the trailer, you get your first look at Winston Dever, who's voiced by Bob Odenkirk, known as Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad. So he looks to be kind of this slimy businessman, and I think Disney's actually gonna try and make him Disneyfied version of Saul Goodman. So that's definitely gonna be interesting. I don't think he's actually gonna be the main villain of the story, though. I'm gonna say the main villain of the story will be Evelyn Dever, his sister, because if you kind of hear it out, it sounds like evil Endeavor. She's got ulterior motives coming in, and they're definitely trying to pull like some of the elements from the first film. You've got that actual waterfall parting walls, and in the first Incredibles, you had the lava doors. So they're Disney's either got like a huge plot twist in mind, trying to trick you into thinking what they're doing is gonna kind of be similar to the Syndrome story, or they're gonna try and just give something like the Syndrome story, but with new characters, new backgrounds, and so just wait to see what their motives are, and hope they're gonna be great, fully fleshed characters in the film.
Yeah. A lot of people have nostalgia for the first Incredibles movie because a lot of people believe it's the best Pixar movie ever made. I would agree with that. Um, and after this long to finally be getting a sequel, a lot of people are really hyping this up. They're thinking that it's gonna be this huge masterpiece of a movie, and I really hope it is. But at the same time, I'm staying a little cautious just to see whether or not they pull it off.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a real test for Disney to. They haven't really been huge on sequels, and Pixar has, you know, they've been pretty big on sequels, but they've never given like, some of their top movie sequels aside from obviously the Toy Story trilogy, which is getting a Toy Story 4, which I'm actually pretty excited for. But, they've done three Cars movies, two Finding Nemo movies.
Yep.
So it's about time that Incredibles gets its due. So I'm hoping that Pixar knows that, there's this entire crowd just wanting this to be a great movie, and they've been waiting for this for so long, and I hope Pixar has made a great story for that to honor the fans who have remained with them for this movie.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking forward to that movie. Also, last week there was a new trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2. Personally, I have a soft spot for the first Wreck-It Ralph movie. I think it's a great parody on video games and a great inside look on what video game characters would actually be like. Um, I definitely connected with a lot of the characters in that movie. I know it's a video game movie, but I did. I really did, and it was. I thought it was a great. It was it was like the Emoji movie, but actually really, really good. You know what I mean? It's an inside look into technology, characters, and their lives, and what we've seen in this new trailer for the sequel definitely has me interested.
And when talking about the nostalgia factor, definitely the first Wreck-It Ralph showed all these old video games and, old arcades. So that definitely is kind of like a look at the past. This movie's going to bring it to the internet, and, you know, it'll be interesting because you've got old-timey characters coming into this new advanced world, so there's obviously going to be some hijinks ensuing. One thing that is going to be a very big moment in the Wreck-It Ralph 2 movie is they're going to have like this whole scene featuring like all the Disney princesses voiced by the original actors. So, that's
really?
probably that's probably going to be something that'll be interesting to see Wreck-It Ralph interacting with the Disney princesses.
I did not hear about that, but now that you mention that, that sounds really cool. And now I'm even more excited for this movie. So thanks for bringing that up. Moving on, now there's sequel casting rumors. Starting with It Chapter 2, the role of Beverly Marsh is likely going to be played by Jessica Chastain of Interstellar and The Martian fame. I don't know how she'll do as this character. A lot of people don't like this casting choice. They say it's not a great fit, but I'm open to the idea.
I haven't actually seen the first It yet, 'cause I'm not like a huge horror film guy.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I've seen like scenes from the movie It, and focused on the less scary ones, but definitely the plot seems very interesting, and I think the sequel to It could be very neat. I'd like to see the characters grow up into adults if they're doing a sequel. So if they show them, they can give like flashbacks to the past, but
Right.
If they do a sequel set in the future, and they're adults, they have new fears such as taxes, and then then you've got this evil clown coming back to torment them. That's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think a lot of what It Chapter 2 has to offer is really going to depend on how they cast the adult versions of these characters. And starting out with Jessica Chastain, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people don't like it, but I'm definitely open to the idea. She's done a lot of good stuff in the past, and hopefully they make some more smart decisions with casting these new characters. So next we have a casting for Wonder Woman 2, the villain. The cheetah is going to be played by Kristen Wiig of comedy fame. She was in Bridesmaids, she was in Ghostbusters. Again, a lot of people do not like this casting at all. They think Kristen Wiig can never truly represent what the cheetah will be. But again, I'm open to it. I think she's done some dramatic stuff before, and I think she could pull it off if she tried.
I haven't actually seen any of her dramatic roles. I'm familiar with her as an actor of comedy.
Right.
So hopefully this isn't like a sign of Wonder Woman 2 being a comedy. Because, Wonder Woman was a great film. It had humor in it, which was nice. But I don't think I would watch a Wonder Woman 2 where it's, everyone's just cracking jokes here and back.
No.
It needs to be a serious story, because Wonder Woman is this great emotional character. So I'd like the villain she faces to kind of be, very serious and, pose a threat. One of the issues I had with the first movie was that Ares, he was an evil god. There was really nothing else to his character aside from that. There was the plot twist, but that really was less of a character thing. So I'd like, if they do Cheetah in the movie, I haven't actually know much about her from the comics, so in the movie I'd like her to give Cheetah a fully fleshed out character.
Right.
And I'd like her to maybe have personal ties to Wonder Woman, give her some real stakes that push her to have another inner conflict with herself. about what's the right way to handle the situation in defeating Cheetah.
Yeah, I really hope Wonder Woman 2 is not a comedy. I mean, when DC tried to make it more comical with Justice League, that bombed horribly, and yeah, that was just a complete failure. And I think Patty Jenkins will make the right call on what tone Wonder Woman 2 is going to have. I think she'll know what to do with Kristen Wiig. I think she cast her for a reason, and I have high hopes for Wonder Woman 2, especially because the first Wonder Woman was so great, and I can't wait to see what they have in store. Now, there were confirmations for casting for Suicide Squad 2. The main actors are coming back, from what I'm told. Margot Robbie's going to be back as Harley Quinn.
Jared Leto's coming back as a Joker. He was kind of the real wild card, and wondering if he's going to come back. Will Smith is also confirmed to be coming back as Deadshot. And so, those are the three most interesting characters from the first film. So, I'd like to see Margot Robbie and Jared Leto give the Joker and Harley Quinn kind of this new story going on. Definitely want to see more Joker than they had in the first Suicide Squad film.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting if they kind of have, Margot Robbie's character in almost like a love triangle with Deadshot and the Joker, because in the comics she has had a fling with Deadshot every once in a while.
Interesting. The Suicide Squad 2 is going to be directed by Gavin O'Connor, who made The Accountant. I have not seen The Accountant, but I've heard it's pretty good. I heard he did some really good directorial work with that, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, because a lot of people didn't like what David Ayer, the director of the first Suicide Squad, did with that movie, and I'm glad that they're kind of rebooting almost, just doing like a fresh start, and we'll see what Suicide Squad 2 is going to be like. I didn't particularly like the first one, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I'm excited for the sequel. I did enjoy the first movie. It was primarily just seeing the villains take on these heroic roles, but I felt like they did somewhat justice to Harley Quinn's character in this film. I felt like she experienced a character arc in this movie. It wasn't like fully evident as the story progressed. It was more, direct and all. So it wasn't like the best formed character arc, but I think in the sequel, now she's kind of got this new sensibility to her. So now they can push her in this new direction, and I think that'll be nice.
Yeah, definitely. There's going from casting to directing now. There's a rumor going around that Danny Boyle might direct the next James Bond movie. Bond 25 is the working title. Danny Boyle's made 127 Hours, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire. You haven't seen any of those, have you?
I have not.
Okay. I've heard they're really good movies. 127 Hours and Slumdog Millionaire in particular have been big Oscar movies before. He's done some really good work, and I'm excited to see what he does with James Bond. They switch up the directors like almost every movie with the series, so I'm glad to see James Bond get a fresh start. After what Daniel Craig said about returning to the James Bond movies, he said he'd rather slash his wrists than play James Bond again. After what this movie has had, all the troubles it's been through, I hope somebody like Danny Boyle can bring a fresh take to this character.
I haven't seen too many of the Bond movies. I've mostly seen the few of the modern ones, so I'm not super pumped for this new film, but I definitely enjoy the character of James Bond, and he's a cool character, just not one I'm super interested in, seeing in theaters and stuff.
No, I understand.
But, I think this new movie, hopefully this director will do some good. I've definitely heard of good things from Slumdog Millionaire. I know that's a pretty high-ranking film, so.
Definitely. Going from possible director hiring to a director firing, Joss Whedon has been forced out of his own Batgirl movie by DC. After Justice League horribly bombed at the box office and with critics, DC decided to shake things up. They let go of Zack Snyder. They basically recast their whole production team, and one of the guys that's being let go is Joss Whedon before he even got to start his Batgirl movie. If you don't know who Joss Whedon is, he made two of the biggest superhero movies of all time and helped finish directing Justice League after Zack Snyder had to take an unfortunate leave of absence. Um, I think he's a really talented director. When he's given the right material, he can make some really good stuff. But this is pretty sad news to see from his firing.
Uh, yeah. I am kind of hopeful that they'll get a new director because part of the problem with the DCEU is that they don't really have, a set tone. They kind of try and switch it up. It feels very disconnected, and for a movie universe to feel disconnected like that, it's not a good thing. So hopefully with this Batgirl movie, they don't try and focus too much on expanding for her to join up with, the Justice League in some future film. I hope they just kind of give her a nice solo story. You can have references to Batman, but don't have his character show up too much in the film if that is a possibility. Yeah, Joss Whedon is a major director. I enjoyed his work on the Avengers, and I think he did Age of Ultron as well. So, I think he could have definitely done something good with Batgirl, although I feel like he would have made it, a very high stakes superhero film, and I feel like Batgirl's a pretty grounded character. So I kind of want Batgirl to feel like, how the Wonder Woman movie felt.
Yeah, I think if the screenplay is good and they find a good director and they find a good lead, then this movie could really succeed. I think it could be a great step in the right direction for the DCEU if it's done properly. So, now switching gears, there were a few MPAA ratings given out in the past couple weeks. One of them was for Mowgli, the new Jungle Book movie being directed by Andy Serkis. It's coming out October of 2018, just 2.5 years after the last Jungle Book movie. And this one is getting a PG-13 rating for intense sequences of action violence, including bloody images and some thematic elements. Now, I don't know about you, but I loved both the original Jungle Book from the 60s and the new one by Jon Favreau a couple years ago. And I don't know about what this Jungle Book movie has to offer, but it has the possibility to ruin a bunch of people's childhoods.
I would definitely agree with you there. I am a huge Disney fan, so I definitely enjoyed the 60s Jungle Book and the new modern one. Not super interested in a PG-13 movie. I feel like that for Jungle Book, you've got definitely in the setting of the jungle, there's bound to be some violence, but I don't really feel like that's necessary to enjoy the film. So, I would say it'd be interesting if I know part of the reason Shere Khan is against Mowgli in the film is because he was attacked by the human villagers. So if it's PG-13 for a flashback sequence showing Shere Khan's past and the tragedy he faced, that'd definitely be interesting, and I'd be for that. But if it's just PG-13 for unnecessary violence that's meant to show that Mowgli's just kind of this brave, strong character, then I'm not really for that, because Mowgli's an interesting character. I feel he's definitely a survivor in the jungle. He's also a kid, though. I don't want to see him, take on this super violent role to protect himself. So, PG-13 Mowgli movie, not super high on my list. But I will say, I'll probably go see the film in theaters if the trailer looks good, and I think just another Jungle Book movie, as long as doesn't feel too rehashy, as long as it's got something new to offer. Based on the original Jungle Book, it is kind of darker than the Disney films, obviously. So if this Mowgli movie is gonna be more book based than just another version of the Disney movies, then I'd actually think a PG-13 rating for that would be good. But if they're just trying to do another Disney version, I'm not for it.
Yeah, me either. This one's being released by Warner Brothers actually, and I think Andy Serkis as an actor is really talented. As a director, he hasn't really proven himself. So he really needs to be careful about what he does with this movie, because if not, he could really screw up a lot of people's childhoods. Yeah, and so for the past couple weeks, go ahead.
I was just want to add that maybe he took some director's tips from Ryan Coogler while working on Black Panther. So
That's very possible, actually. Um, I hope that he did, because again, like we mentioned, Ryan Coogler is a fantastic director. If Andy Serkis did take tips from him, go Andy Serkis. So, yeah, for the past couple weeks, there have also been some release date announcements and changes. Jurassic World 3 got a release date in June of 2021. Paramount is releasing a Sonic the Hedgehog movie in November of 2019. What do you think about those?
Sonic the Hedgehog, it's going to be another video game movie, so that's going to be a very iffy film. It could be good. It could be good. You know,
I highly doubt it.
There's always the possibility that is a possibility, but given all the other video game movies, there's not a ton of hope. Then again, there haven't been too many animated video game movies, so maybe if they do like a animated Sonic the Hedgehog film, maybe they can do something good. I definitely don't want to see a live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I mean, live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were gross enough to look at, so just don't give me a live action one. But maybe an animated movie, I could see that being okay. I definitely don't see it being, this huge film.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog with video game movies track record, it's not gonna be good. I guarantee it. Even if it is animated and they get the right voice actors, it's just not. Not too much to say about Jurassic World 3 since the second one hasn't come out yet. I mean, trailers looked alright. I enjoyed the first Jurassic World, but I'm gonna wait to see Fallen Kingdom, and then I'm gonna judge on what Jurassic World 3 should be like.
Gonna be honest, I'm not super huge fan of the Jurassic World movies.
Really?
I saw Jurassic Park and I definitely enjoyed it. But I feel like with Jurassic World, it's just another version of Jurassic Park. So, I feel like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's another version of that, and Jurassic World 3, I'm not sure if they truly have anything new to offer. I'm excited for Ian Goldblum's cameo in Jurassic World 2, but aside from that, I just don't want to see another movie about dinosaurs, supposedly being safe, and then they end up getting out and chase after the main characters.
Yeah.
We've seen it once, we've seen it twice, we've seen it 3 times. I don't want to see it again.
We've seen it 4 times, actually. With Jurassic World. Yeah, Fallen Kingdom doesn't look too good. I'm definitely gonna go see it, obviously, but it doesn't look as good as the first Jurassic World did. There was also a Dora the Explorer movie set for August of 2019. New Tarantino movies coming out in 2019. We're both not big on Tarantino, but we know he's a great director, so go for him. Glad he's making another movie, but Dora the Explorer, just no.
Yeah, I did not know that there was going to be a Dora the Explorer movie. So, yeah, I don't think they should do a big screen version of her character. When I was younger, I enjoyed the made-for-TV specials they would do for her, but, I can't see a movie starring her.
Yeah, me neither. I think that could be a candidate for Worst Picture, honestly. Speaking of Worst Picture, last night, the Golden Raspberry Awards, the Razzies, had their awards show in Hollywood, and the winners have been announced. I am happy to say that the Emoji Movie won 4 awards, including Worst Picture. I saw the Emoji Movie in summer. It was complete garbage. I hated that movie so much. I will go so far as to say it was, is, and will be the worst movie I will ever see in my life. And I'm glad it got Worst Picture. I'm glad it is recognized as the worst movie of the year. Some other movies got some awards. Fifty Shades Darker got some awards. The Mummy got some awards. Baywatch got some awards. But just overall, highlight of the night, the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, Emoji Movie was definitely a terrible animated movie. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the worst movie ever. I say it's the worst animated movie ever, but there are tons of bad films. I honestly think that while the Emoji Movie, it's hardly a good animated film. I don't think it's deserving of all the hate it's getting, like by reviewers and stuff. I mean, I feel like it's just kind of the hatred towards it has been overblown. It's a bad movie. Just say that. You don't need to go in depth, just completely roasting the film and everything. I will say, glad it got a few Razzies. That was definitely deserving, but I don't think we need to just have this huge anti-emoji movie campaign as long as they don't start making sequels to it.
I mean, I hate to ruin your bandwagon train, but I'm sorry. I am the leader of the anti-emoji movie hate train.
Fair enough.
That movie sucks, and I'm gonna stay with it. That movie is terrible, and in every way, I can't even talk about the Emoji Movie anymore. It's so bad. So we're not gonna talk about the Emoji Movie anymore. I'm sorry you had to hear all that, but now before we get into our main topic for the week, we're gonna do a special review of the biggest movie of the month, and that is Black Panther.
All right, Black Panther, great film. Recommend going seeing it multiple times. Michael B. Jordan's character, Eric Stevens, not Eric Killmonger if you're a fan of the comics. He does eventually gain that name. He was very, he had a very tragic backstory. His father was killed by, the Wakandan king, and he had been exiled from Wakanda and everything. So you really understand his character. You see where he's coming from. You don't agree with where he's going, but, you can tell that he's a strong character. He feels some inner conflict with himself, and he's very appreciative of African culture too. He appreciates his heritage, and the fact that his heritage has now become his enemy isn't something he's happy to be fighting against. But he also, he was raised in Detroit. He knows the streets. He's had a rough life, and he's now coming after the people that gave him the rough life. He's a character you don't root for because obviously his goals, they're not something you can root for. They're genocide basically. But his idea of what he's trying to accomplish, that is something you can root for. His methods, they're not the best.
Yeah, definitely Michael B. Jordan was the standout of this movie to me in terms of characters. I think he did an amazing job as Eric Stevens, Eric Killmonger, whatever you want to call him. I think the best type of villains in these big comic book movies are the ones that kind of change the hero's perspective, and make them see the world in a different light. That's why they're calling Killmonger the best villain since the Joker. That's debatable, but I can see why they say that because the way he transformed T'Challa's viewpoint at the end of the movie. Oh, by the way, spoilers for Black Panther. Obviously, I said that once, but if you haven't seen it, you definitely just want to go somewhere else right now or hit the mute button. By wanting to kill so many people with these mass weapons that he's exporting to the rest of the world, right? That's what he does. So he really, before he came, Wakanda was such an isolationist country. It had basically no connection with the outside world whatsoever because they solely relied on their vibranium status. And Killmonger really helped T'Challa see both the advantages and disadvantages of working with other countries. You know what I mean? So it's I'm glad that they incorporated Killmonger in such a way to enhance the characters and enhance the story, but also still be a villain in his own right in a good way.
Yeah, there's this whole thing that, Killmonger, he has the same powers as T'Challa, and, that's kind of something the MCU has never been good at. Their villains typically have the same powers as the heroes. But I feel, in a way, you still need that character to almost be the same as the hero, because you want the villain to basically be the hero looking into his reflection in the mirror, and you want that to be his way to like enhance his heroic status. You want that to be the way he realizes some of his own flaws and tries to correct them, because he sees that his flaws have just been emphasized in this other person. So, I think with Killmonger especially, yes, he has the same, basically same suit as Black Panther, has the same powers, but he's also showing that he's got a different way of going about it all. So it kind of, yes, the suit is a visual representation of it, so you don't necessarily need the same suit and same powers, but you at least need the character to almost be the same as the hero, but emphasized with the flaws.
Definitely. If you haven't seen Black Panther yet, first of all, why are you still here? Second of all, go see it. It's amazing. I'd give it probably an A. I'd give it an A. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies they've made in a long time, and I'm excited to see what Black Panther does next. One of the things that surprised me in Black Panther was the amount of people that die. I mean, there's so many people. I mean, Claw dies, Killmonger dies at the end, obviously.
Zuri dies. He's the priest of
right,
Wakanda.
Forrest Whitaker. Yeah, the way they handled so many deaths is kind of amazing in a way, but also pretty shocking. But that also enhanced the characters in the story.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to kill off so many major players in the film. But, the characters that lived, and even the ones that died, they still had, great personalities. Andy Serkis's character, Ulysses Claw, he didn't really have a huge character arc. He was more there. He was like the first act's comedic relief, and then you got Everett Ross as kind of the second act's comedic relief. So, not really much to say about Claw's character. He was a nice addition to the cast, wasn't super impactful to the plot.
Right.
His death was, though.
Yes, that's true. That's true. His death really propelled Killmonger into the position that he got in. And yeah, go ahead.
Any new theories that you have for Infinity War based on the Black Panther movie?
Yeah, the location of the Soul Stone is still undetermined, and it's been this way ever since Doctor Strange came out. Ever since Doctor Strange came out, people were saying, oh, it's going to be in Guardians 2. Guardians 2 came out, it wasn't in Guardians 2. We said, oh, it's going to be in Thor Ragnarok. It wasn't in Thor Ragnarok. Oh, we said it's going to be in Black Panther. It's not in Black Panther. So at this point, we're definitely going to see it in Infinity War, obviously. I have a few different theories of where it's going to be. Ranked from most likely to least likely, I'd say A, Thanos already has it, and he's just coming to get more. B, it's in Wakanda. They just haven't shown it yet, but they're hiding it somewhere in there. Or C, Thanos picked it up off of Xandar when he destroyed it or whatever.
Some of my theories are they kind of vary. I don't think Thanos may have it in his collection. I'm not super certain about that one. I'd probably rank it in the middle. One of the theories I've been hearing a lot is that the Infinity Stones and their locations kind of spell out Thanos.
Yes.
And I think that is, at a certain point you can say, 3 movies, 3 Infinity Stones, and you can chalk it up to coincidence. But when you've only missing one letter to finish Thanos, it's intentional by Marvel. So I think that the location of the Soul Stone is going to be in Wakanda, and I think it'll be in the heart-shaped herb as something powering it, or just something related to the heart-shaped herb. some theories I've heard state that the meteor that crashed into Earth and like created Wakanda
might contain the Soul Stone.
Yeah. And so that's definitely a likely possibility.
Very interesting.
My second possibility, which this is kind of medium ranking, is that during Iron Man 2, Tony Stark created the Soul Stone by creating a new element on the periodic table. That's been another theory I've seen. And, well, just creating an element doesn't mean you've definitely created a Soul Stone, but I definitely think it was, Iron Man 2 wasn't like the best movie, but if MCU has been great at kind of, building larger universes with each film, Iron Man 2 didn't have a ton of world building in it, so I think if Marvel intentionally created a new element in there, I think that'd definitely be interesting, and especially, it's not something they focus on too much, it's more something that, if you catches your eye just right, I think that's what Marvel wanted, because they kind of chalk it up to like, I created a new element. Well, let's go fight Whiplash.
Yeah. Your first theory about the herbs, that actually could be pretty legit. I like that theory a lot. The Iron Man 2 one, not so much, because if I remember correctly, I think in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Collector says, like, before time began, there were these 6 Infinity Stones or something. So I'm pretty sure it's there before Tony Stark created a new element. But overall, Black Panther is a great movie. I can't wait to see what happens with these characters in the future. Can't wait to see how the Wakandans are going to be incorporated into Infinity War. I really hope Ryan Coogler comes back to direct the second one, like James Gunn did for Guardians of the Galaxy. I would definitely give Black Panther an A. Maybe not an A+. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's very, very good.
Yeah, definitely seeing Ryan Coogler coming back to direct the sequel, that'd be a nice choice. Joss Whedon has done 2 Avengers films, then you've got Guardians director doing 2 of them. So, it's going to be nice if they have Ryan Coogler come back to direct another Black Panther film, because he did great with the first one. I'm sure he's got some ideas for the second one. And in terms of Infinity War, definitely going to be a huge movie about the Soul Stone's locations. You've got that big fight scene in Wakanda, so that's either going to be over the Soul Stone, one of the characters, or maybe everyone just happens to be in Wakanda at that point. Least likely, though. In terms of where the Soul Stone is, I would like to say I'm not super into the Heimdall theory that he is the Soul Stone. That doesn't really make sense. Plus, if Thanos wanted to collect the Soul Stone, they'd have to kill off Heimdall. I can't remember if he's confirmed for Infinity War, but I don't see them like killing off Heimdall. And if he's in the story, I don't see him being a major player.
All right, to wrap up Black Panther, what grade would you give it?
A+.
A+. Yeah, it's almost that good for me. I think it's an A. It's a great movie. I don't give A+'s out to too many movies. Black Panther came very, very close to getting that.